And he had done quite a bit of work later on in London. But after building the college, he had quite a lot of contracts from the gentry around here who improved their mansions. And so he was quite well known in this area, but if you look him up, he was quite an eminent architect. He based the design of the university on one of the Oxford colleges. You'll see later, if you take the broad view of the frontage, if you know Jesus College, Oxford, then you could swear it's the same place. And of course, Jesus College, Oxford was the Welsh college. It's Jesus College, all the endowments for Welsh people. In Oxford, it was Jesus, and in Jesus College, Oxford, and in Cambridge, it was St John's. All the Welsh people went to St John's in Cambridge, and Jesus College, Oxford. That's where all the Welsh endowments were. So he modelled this place really on Jesus College, Oxford. The only thing that altered actually was this church. He originally thought for it to be separate, but he eventually incorporated into the main building. There's a lovely organ there, and they used to hold, they still hold regular services, but not so many people come anymore. But of course, at one time, when the place was very much theological, well, of course, this place was packed out with all the students would be here, because that was their event, that was what they did. So this isn't the original furniture. John's was having, Jesus College was having a renovation, and they stripped out this from John's and it came here. So that wasn't the original, but and that's why I believe that's why the colouring is still the same. Those are John's colours. I think I'm right. I'm quite sure about that. But anyway, so yes, so that would have been early Victorian, like 1850s. So it's a lovely venue. The Rerelos has always been there, and what I found, even in the time, I'm not a native of Lampeter, I'm from Swansea, but I've been living here 47 years, and they call me by my surname here now, which is a big step forward from what they used to call me. But even the time I've been coming here, this scene has changed several times according to the beliefs of the chaplain. I mean, of course, Anglican, but you can have low Anglican, high Anglican, middle Anglican. Now, I remember that pulpit being removed twice, and the emphasis being on the altar. So that was high Anglican, and I remember one chaplain here actually using the incense. But there's a new chaplain, actually, I saw it earlier on. The pulpit is back, and so obviously the new chaplain isn't quite as high church as previously. So you can always gauge the belief of the chaplain by what she does here.
Sit down, put in storage.
Yes, put in storage. Yeah. And the thing is, if the new chaplain wanted it, she brought it back. That is an original. I always say Canaletto, but of course it isn't Canaletto. It's an Italian name I can't pronounce. But it's an original. They're very proud of it. I think that is the original, or it might be a copy these days. But just for a few minutes, you can have a little look round, get the feel of it, and go and have a look at that little notice by it there to get the details of that. Okay? And as I say, it's a lovely organ. They do hold Christmas services here, etc., Plugine. And it is used on a regular basis, every evening, even, I think.
Do they still play the organ? Do they still play the main organ?
Yes. It's, as I say, it's a used place. It isn't an ornament, it's used.
But they still do theology here as a subject.
Oh, yes. Yeah, they still do theology. What has happened is that eventually, and there's an irony here, and being as you're sitting comfortably, I hope, I'll tell you here. I mentioned outside that the University of Wales hadn't been founded when this place was founded. Now, the next place to be founded was Aberystwyth in the 1870s, and that was very much based on nonconformity, the nonconformist chapels, the pennies of the poor. There used to be seal of Prifysgol, where the congregations of the chapels would pay some money to a man called Sir Hugh Owen, who instigated a university for Wales. So it came towards the second half, last quarter of the 19th century. We had a resurgence of Welsh nationalism. We wanted national institutions, and one of them was a university for Wales. And so Aberystwyth was founded, but the University of Wales only came after the Aberdare Report of 1888, when it was eventually agreed that there should be a university for North Wales and a university for South Wales. And the University for North Wales was in Bangor, and the University for South Wales was in Cardiff. And that was in 1894. So the University of Wales was founded, but when it was founded, Lampeter petitioned, because it already existed, to be a part. Aberystwyth petitioned, because it already existed, to be a part, a constituent, because the University of Wales was always a federal university. You see, the colleges were all spread out, weren't they? All over the country. Aberystwyth was accepted, Lampeter was refused. Lampeter didn't join the University of Wales when it was founded as a constituent college, because it was very based on nonconformity, and this was regarded as an Anglican foundation. And of course, the enmity, I was going to say, but I suppose it was, between the nonconformity and the Anglicanism in those days was very strong. And of course, we do get a slant in Welsh history. The winners always write the history. So Welsh nonconformity came through. By 1851, 80% of people who attended a service on a particular day were in the chapels, and only 20% were in churches. So Wales became a nonconformist country. And so it's always had this little feel about it, that it was Anglican. A little bit of the alien church, a little island of Anglicanism in the middle of this nonconformist sea. Research shows that there was much, much more Welsh here than they made out. It suited the story, didn't it, for this to be an English place. But of course, most of the students, that was the whole point it had been founded. Local men came here. Nonconformist farmers sent their sons here to be Anglicans. So there's a whole mix. It gets blurred. You know, the whole thing gets blurred. And it's very interesting. And of course, this place then always had this, well, I was going to say stigma. It's not as strong as that. It's had this impression of being Anglican. But a lot of eminent men taught here. The first, and I leave this now because we'll go into the old hall now in a moment, and we'll have a quick look at the people we are talking about. But many eminent Welsh-speaking men taught here, and a lot of clergy who came out of here were well-speaking and went to all parts of Wales. There might have been somebody from Tywyn, a vicar of Tywyn in the past. You look them up, and I bet some of them came here. Yes, sir?
You mentioned Aberystwyth just now, and I heard some time ago that there was a possibility, the original thought, that the university should have been in Tywyn and not Aberystwyth.
Possibly, yes. I haven't heard that myself, but I don't come from Tywyn, of course. But, yeah, you may be right. It's like this place, of course, it only settled here because he got the land here.
Yeah.
You see? He was open to ideas, Burgess, as we'll see him now. But, yeah, you could be right. And of course, I suppose that you've got the Machynlleth idea of Owen Glyndŵr, and he propagated a university for Wales way back in the 15th century. So, yeah, there could have been connections that way. I'm quite prepared to believe that, yeah.
This is very interesting to us because one of our themes for early next year is the churches and chapels in Wales and the development of them. So this is really something that we're, very,
Yes.
speaking for myself, I find this really interesting.
Yes, well, I mean, when I was brought up in Swansea, I attended a chapel, and I mean, quite honestly, the vicar in his black robe was the devil. Oh. You know anything to do with that? I didn't go to the Boy Scouts. So they were just as bigoted in a way in the chapels, if not more. Because quite honestly, my mother was out every night. Band of war. There would be always a sisterhood, choir practice, something in the chapel all the time. It was as much a social as religious. It was part of society. Very good breeding ground for other things came and distracted